Hello everybody and welcome back to part 3 of the Victoria 2 Let's Learn. In today's episode we'll be going through the budget and economy and everything you need to know about this panel right here. So let's get started. First off, this graph here is the graph of basically your economy. So you can see it's been the green here and it's gone down a little, and this is relating to this number here. And this number here is what we made as a country yesterday. So you can see right now we're in the positive, and yesterday we made 183.2 pounds. So you see, if I just play this a little bit, you can see this number's changing and it's reflecting that on this graph. You can see now we're making minus money. So that's just what that is. And it's good to keep check on this to know how your economy is going and if it's stable. You can see right now it's not stable at all. It's going down, it's going up, and that's not what you want. Even if you're only in the green by a little bit, if it's a stable amount and it's not going down, it's just staying like it is, that's much better than having it fluctuate up and down a ton. And next we have basically our cash reserve. So how much money we have in basically our treasury, so we can spend that on lots of things like, sending expeditions if events occur, or building factories, subsidizing other countries in wars, so giving them money to train troops, etc. And yeah, so you always want to try and keep this relatively high in case bad things happen. You have, money to fall back on. Now, this is basically split up into two sections. We have this section here is all about our income, and this section here is all about our expenses. So in this section we have the three types of taxes. So we have the taxes for the poor people, the middle class, and the rich. And you can see here that the poor people split up into 5 groups. We have craftsmen, farmers, labourers, slaves, and soldiers. And you can see right now we're taxing them as much as we possibly can. And this is just the way I like to play the game, is have sort of, you tax the poor people a lot, middle class less, and rich less. And this is so that the rich people, which are aristocrats and capitalists, mainly capitalists, they have more money to spend on making projects, which we talked about in the production episode. So yeah, it's always nice to have capitalists not tax too much so they can spend their money on other things. Anyway, and then the middle class split into artisans, bureaucrats, which bureaucrats relate to administration here, and we'll go into that in a second. Clergymen, which relate to education and research. Clerks, which work in factories, and officers, which are part of the military. And based on your political type, you can see right now we have a reactionary government. This changes depending on what government type you have. It will set you a maximum and minimum limit for how much you can tax people. In more liberal political groups, you'll normally find that you can only tax them about this much total. And then, but in reactionary and conservative political groups, normally you'll find that there's a minimum you can tax them, but no maximum. And I like this because while your people won't be as happy, you won't have to worry about money too much. So that's what that is. Gold here, this is your income from gold mines. And, most countries will have a gold mine, etc. that they use. And that's basically the total income from these 3 taxes. So that's all that added together, and that added here. So you can see we're making £1,390.28 per day. And you can see in the expenses, this is how much we're spending per day. And then, subtract it, and that's our projected balance for tomorrow. Because it's, your income minus your expenditure, like normal. Next, we have loans. And you can see here, straight away, total debt. How much you owe totally. Interest is, say, if you take out a loan of, I don't know, 779, that the amount you pay off will grow over time. So you want to try and pay off your loans as quickly as possible. And loans will automatically be taken out if this hits 0, and you'll start taking loans out of the banks and things like that. You can see here, this is our national bank, and this is your first port of call for loans. You'll always try and borrow from your national bank first before any others. And you can see right now we've got 0 loans taken, but we have quite a bit of money, you see here. So we've been giving loans, so we just click here. These will happen automatically with countries, but you can see that they will take money from you and pay you back interest. And if they fail to pay back that loan after a certain amount of time, you can see here Bremen is in red. This means that we can declare a war on them because they haven't paid back any of the money that they owe us. And that's one of the ways you can start getting casus belli in other countries. So reasons that you can go to war with them is if they don't pay off your loans. This normally happens with smaller countries. But that covers everything for income. Next, we're going to cover expenses, which is this half of the panel, and this is what you're spending money on. So straight away we can see national stockpile, and this is where probably the majority of your money is going to be going. And you can see right here, this is how much you're spending on land units, naval units, and construction. So land units, a good way to explain this is if we back out and go to France, you can see here's an army I have, and this green bar is almost filled. And that means they have the majority of what they need in terms of like ammunition, food. And you can see if I lower this and play ahead, you can see that goes straight down, which means they won't be as good in combat, they'll be more likely to run away, and they'll just be all round worse. So it's very important to keep this as high as you can. Same again with naval units. If I just find one of my neighbours, that's full right now. If I lower it, you can see it goes straight down, and that means they'll be able to spend less time out at sea, and they won't, act as well. So you can normally keep this quite low if you don't plan on having naval battles and you don't really want a navy. But always try and keep your military one high. Again with construction, this works a little bit differently. Say if I'm producing a factory, let's make one really quick. You can see this one here is upgrading, and it's going to take, if I find it, actually we'll make a new one. You can see this is going to take 730 days, according to this. If I mouse over this again, 730 days. Now construction, you can see here, started spending money on those things it needs. And basically this slider means how much they will spend per day on this construction. See right now we're losing a ton of money from this. But if you lower it, say we only spend a little bit per day, we're making profit. So this factory is then going to be built, if I wait for it, I don't think it's started buying it yet, but basically this factory, it will take much longer to build because it's not buying as many goods per day as it can total. But saying that, it is going to keep us in the green rather than building it really quickly and just losing us a ton of money. That's very important to manage if you're building a lot at once and you fall into the red. Next we have education, and you can see here is the amount of research points clergymen make per turn, well per day. And you can see this is changed by a lot of things, but basically this slider here pays, that's just a random event. You can see this slider here pays the clergyman. So if I increase this, the more people will turn to clergymen, meaning we'll make more research points. You can just see that went up by 0.01, but that will continue to grow and we'll research things faster. Now there's a similar thing with administration, but if I mouse over this, this is about tax efficiency. And if I slide over it, should tell me. There we go. Tax efficiency, social reforms, and tariff efficiency, and crime fighting. So this is basically a lot of things to do with politics, and this is your tariff here, which we'll go into. But you want to try and keep this high. This comes probably after education, though. Your main thing after these should be education, then administration. So administration is not as important. Next we have social spending, which say you have healthcare or any sort of subsidies, welfare benefits. This all comes into this slide right now. But because we don't have any, we're not spending any. You can see your pensions, unemployment subsidies. So that's that. Again, military spending is the wages of the military. See right here, these are the wages. Slide it, you can see it changes there. And having this high will cost you quite a lot of money. You can see 187 instead of 90, which is quite a big jump. But it means that more people will probably become soldiers, more soldiers will become happy, and that will increase your total possible army you have. So it's very important to try and keep that high as well. Now tariffs, if I mouse over it, an extra cost on imported goods. So let's go to our artisans, which are basically people who, not sure how to explain it, but they import goods and make things, right? Now, if I put this high, you can see if I put it at 20%. I recommend, by the way, you don't put this any higher than 20%, because 20% is any more, and this will start becoming quite messed up. You'll get lots of red areas, and your kind of economy will start to fall down quite a lot. So 20% in times of need. Normally, you want to keep it about 0. But now, when the artisans are importing, their things, 20% of whatever they are importing, cost-wise, they will have to also pay. So, they pay 120% basically of what they're buying, and that 20% goes to us. And this is, you can see right now it's making us an extra 212.5, which is quite a lot. Likewise, you can also reduce this by 25% here, which means that we will pay ourselves 25% of whatever they're importing, which can, increase their happiness quite a bit, and also fund more trade. And you can see if I put this to 100%, this will start to fall apart. You can see here, lots of red areas growing, yellow, and it's not very stable at all. But we do make a lot of money from it. So that's something to keep in mind. Get that to 0. And that is, also, this thing here, industrial subsidies. Now, if you watch my production video, you'll remember that you can subsidize a factory. So that, say here, it goes into the red. Let me just upgrade that. If this goes into, I upgraded it because it was full. Here, you can see. 10,000 out of 10,000. And if you subsidize a factory and it's in the red, meaning it's losing money, we can then vow to pay for that money that it's lost. But right now, because our factories are making enough to pay this back, we don't have to pay anything. But if I play this for a while, you may see this go up and down. No. So our factories, are self-sufficient at the minute. We don't have to pay any money into it. But this is what this number here means. As well, we have diplomatic balance here, which say that you lose a war, and the other side says you pay as part of your taxes, or whatever. This number will appear here, and this is how much you are paying to other countries regarding to war subsidies or peace deals or anything like that. So that's just there to let you know that you're still paying off debts, etc. And that about covers it for economy and budget. If you've liked this video, please like, comment, subscribe. There'll be an annotation on screen right now to take you back to the playlist where you can select another video to watch. If not, if you stay till the end of this video, it will now go on to the next video, which will be technology. Thank you for watching, and hope you enjoy the series.